vast theater of human existence where countless stories unfold across time and space, there emerges a truth so fundamental that it transcends cultures, epochs, and individual circumstances. This truth speaks to the very essence of what it means to be human. Our extraordinary capacity to rise from the ashes of our defeats, to transform pain into wisdom, and to discover in our darkest moments the seeds of our greatest triumphs. This is the story of resilience, not merely as a psychological concept or a motivational slogan, but as a profound philosophical principle that illuminates the path toward authentic self-discovery and meaningful existence. When we contemplate the words of Nelson Mandela, spoken by a man who spent 27 years in prison, yet emerged not with bitterness, but with an expanded heart, capable of forgiveness and transformation, we encounter a paradox that lies at the very heart of the human condition. How is it possible that our greatest defeats can become the foundations of our most significant victories? How can suffering, that universal experience we all seek to avoid, become the very crucible in which our character is forged and our purpose is discovered? The ancient Stoic philosophers understood this paradox intimately. Epictetus, himself a former slave who became one of history's most influential teachers, taught that external circumstances possess no inherent power to determine our inner state. What matters is not what happens to us, but how we choose to interpret and respond to what happens to us. This distinction between what is within our control and what lies beyond it forms the cornerstone of resilient thinking. When we truly grasp that we cannot control the winds of fortune but can always adjust our sails, we begin to understand the first principle of resilience, the recognition that our power lies not in avoiding adversity, but in how we choose to dance with it. But resilience is far more than mere endurance or stubborn persistence. It is not the oak tree that stands rigid against the storm only to break when the winds become too strong. Rather, it is the bamboo that bends without breaking, that yields without surrendering its essential nature, that finds strength in flexibility and wisdom in adaptation. This metaphor reveals a crucial insight. True resilience requires us to maintain our core identity while remaining open to transformation. It demands that we hold firm to our values while allowing our perspectives, strategies, and even our understanding of ourselves to evolve in response to life's challenges. The journey of developing resilience inevitably leads us into the depths of self-knowledge. Adversity has a unique way of stripping away the superficial layers of our identity, forcing us to confront who we really are beneath the masks we wear and the roles we play. In moments of crisis, the external supports we have relied upon may crumble, leaving us face to face with our raw, unadorned selves. This confrontation, though often painful, represents one of life's greatest gifts: the opportunity to discover our authentic core, to identify what truly matters to us, and to distinguish between our genuine aspirations and the expectations others have imposed upon us. Consider the existentialist insight of Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps and emerged with a revolutionary understanding of human nature. Through his harrowing experiences, he discovered that even in the most extreme circumstances, we retain one fundamental freedom: the freedom to choose our attitude toward our situation. This choice, he argued, is what separates human beings from all other creatures. We are not merely products of our conditioning or victims of our circumstances. We are beings capable of finding meaning, even in suffering, of creating purpose, even in the face of apparent meaninglessness. This capacity for meaning-making lies at the heart of resilience. When we can find significance in our struggles, when we can perceive our challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than merely obstacles to overcome, we tap into a source of strength that is virtually inexhaustible. The question is not whether we will face adversity, for that is guaranteed, but whether we will allow our adversities to diminish us or to become catalysts for our expansion. The process of building resilience is intrinsically connected to the development of emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Resilient individuals have learned to observe their emotional reactions without being overwhelmed by them. They understand that emotions are temporary experiences, not permanent states, and they have developed the capacity to feel deeply without losing their center. This emotional agility allows them to navigate the turbulent waters of crisis while maintaining their ability to think clearly, make wise decisions, and take constructive action. Moreover, resilience is not a solitary achievement, but a relational one. The myth of the self-made individual who conquers all challenges through sheer willpower alone is not only unrealistic, but counterproductive. True resilience is cultivated within the context of meaningful relationships, communities of support, and connections that remind us of our shared humanity. When we face our darkest hours, it is often the love, encouragement, and wisdom of others that help us remember our own strength and value. The interdependent nature of resilience teaches us humility. We are not meant to carry all burdens alone, and seeking support is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. The philosophical tradition offers us numerous frameworks for understanding the transformative potential of adversity. The ancient Chinese concept of yin and yang suggests that opposition and contrast are not enemies to be defeated, but complementary forces that give meaning and depth to existence. Without darkness, we could not appreciate light. Without struggle, we could not recognize ease. Without loss, we could not fully value what we possess. This perspective invites us to see our challenges not as intrusions into an otherwise perfect life, but as integral parts of a complete human experience. Similarly, the Hindu concept of dharma suggests that each individual has a unique path or purpose that can only be discovered through the full engagement with life's experiences, including its difficulties. From this viewpoint, our struggles are not random misfortunes but essential elements of our spiritual curriculum, designed to teach us lessons we could learn in no other way. This doesn't mean we should seek out suffering or passively accept injustice, but rather that we can find meaning and purpose even in our most challenging circumstances. The development of resilience also requires us to cultivate a different relationship with failure. In our success-obsessed culture, failure is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs, a source of shame that reflects our inadequacy. But resilient individuals understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a prerequisite for success. Every failure contains within it valuable information about what doesn't work, feedback that is essential for eventual breakthrough. The key is learning to fail forward, to extract the lessons from each setback and use them as stepping stones toward our ultimate goals. This reframing of failure connects to the broader theme of growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Those with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence are static qualities that cannot be significantly developed. They see challenges as threats to their self-image and tend to avoid situations where they might fail. In contrast, those with a growth mindset understand that abilities can be developed through dedication, hard work, and learning from mistakes. They embrace challenges as opportunities to expand their capabilities and view setbacks as natural parts of the learning process. The cultivation of resilience is also deeply connected to our relationship with time and impermanence. The Buddhist teaching of impermanence reminds us that all things, both pleasant and unpleasant, are temporary. This perspective can provide immense comfort during difficult times, reminding us that no matter how intense our current suffering may be, it will eventually pass. Simultaneously, it encourages us to savor and appreciate the good times, knowing that they too are fleeting. This acceptance of impermanence paradoxically provides stability, as we learn to find our security not in external circumstances, but in our own capacity to adapt and respond wisely to whatever arises. Resilience requires us to develop a longer-term perspective, to see beyond the immediate crisis to the potential for growth and transformation it contains. This involves cultivating patience with the process of change, understanding that meaningful development often happens slowly and sometimes imperceptibly. Just as a tree grows stronger not despite the storms it weathers but because of them, developing deeper roots and more flexible branches in response to environmental challenges, we too can use our difficulties as opportunities to develop greater depth, strength, and wisdom. The practice of resilience also involves learning to live with uncertainty and ambiguity. One of the primary sources of human suffering is our desire for certainty and control in a world that is fundamentally uncertain and largely beyond our control. Resilient individuals have learned to become comfortable with not knowing, to find peace in the midst of chaos, and to make decisions and take action even when the outcome is uncertain. This requires developing tolerance for ambiguity and the ability to hold multiple perspectives simultaneously without needing to resolve all contradictions immediately. Furthermore, resilience is intimately connected to our sense of purpose and meaning. When we have a clear understanding of what we value most deeply, when we are connected to something larger than ourselves, we can endure almost any hardship. This purpose doesn't have to be grandiose or world-changing. It can be as simple as being a loving parent, contributing to our community, or pursuing personal growth. What matters is that it provides a why that is strong enough to sustain us through the inevitable hows and whats of difficult times. The journey of developing resilience is ultimately a journey toward greater authenticity and self-realization. As we learn to navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom, we discover capacities within ourselves that we never knew existed. We develop confidence not in our ability to avoid difficulties, but in our capacity to handle whatever comes our way. This confidence is not arrogant or naive. It is grounded in experience and tempered by humility. It acknowledges our limitations while celebrating our potential for growth and transformation. In our modern world, where change happens at an unprecedented pace and traditional sources of stability are increasingly unreliable, resilience has become not just a desirable quality but an essential life skill. The ability to adapt, learn, and grow in response to changing circumstances is crucial for both individual well-being and collective survival. This makes the cultivation of resilience not just a personal development goal, but a moral imperative, a contribution we can make to the resilience of our communities and our world. As we reflect on the profound truth embedded in Mandela's words, we are invited to reconsider our relationship with our own struggles and setbacks. Each time we fall, we have a choice. We can remain on the ground, defeated and diminished, or we can rise with greater wisdom, compassion, and strength than we had before. The decision to rise is not always easy, and it rarely happens quickly, but it is always possible. In that possibility lies the essence of human dignity and the source of our greatest hope. The path of resilience is not a destination to be reached, but a way of being to be cultivated throughout our lives. It requires ongoing practice, continuous learning, and constant recommitment to growth and transformation. But for those who choose to walk this path, the rewards are immeasurable. A life of deeper meaning, stronger relationships, greater inner peace, and the profound satisfaction that comes from knowing that we have faced life's challenges with courage, wisdom, and grace. If you enjoyed this content, don't miss the other recommended videos alongside. They are a continuation of this journey of self-discovery and reflection. Subscribe for more content that will awaken your inner potential.